Hey, welcome to Life After Nursing School. I'm your host, Caroline Dana, aka Nurse Coach Caroline, and I'm here to help you, the new nurse, thrive in your career. As a former nurse recruiter, nurse manager, and now your personal new nurse career coach, I'm obsessed with making sure you don't just survive your first couple of years at the bedside. I want you to absolutely rock them. From the challenges to the triumphs, I'll be right here with you, giving you the real-world advice and support that you need to shine. Whether you're in nursing school getting ready for life after, or you're already out there in nurse life feeling overwhelmed or even questioning your confidence, I've got your back. I'll be sharing tips, tricks, resources, and strategies that are just for you. We'll dive into everything from landing that dream nursing job to slaying imposter syndrome, and most importantly, how to keep that spark alive and stay the vibrant and amazing nurse that you are. So if you're ready to tackle the things nursing school did not cover, like how to build a career, trust yourself, and keep your passion strong, then get comfortable because we are about to dive in and make nurse life the best life. Hello, 2026. It feels so good to be back, and I'm genuinely so glad that you're here. Truly, thank you for hitting play on today's episode. Also, you may notice that I'm doing a thing. I'm recording video on this podcast. So you may be watching me speak on Spotify or YouTube. If not, though, let me set the scene for you. I'm currently wearing red scrubs that actually were gifted to me by my nursing students from last semester, and I'm actually wearing a white lab coat. Now, to be honest, I did just finish a mock interview with a nursing student. So this is what I actually wear during the mock interview offering. I really like to dress in character, but I decided I'd just leave it on for these recordings. You know, it feels very fitting, especially for today's episode topic. Now, if you've been around for a while, you know I usually show up pretty consistently here. But I took the last couple of weeks of December off and stepped slightly off the hamster wheel. It wasn't a full pause, I'm not going to lie, because, you know, the business has to keep running. But let's be real, I did take enough time to slow down, log out of my never-ending to-do list, and really just soak in the holidays. Now, if you're new here, for quick context, I have 3 kids. We host Christmas, and this year we had over 20 people in our house. So yeah, it was festive, it was chaotic, it was loud, and it was full in the best way possible. But in between the wrapping paper, the noise, and the magic, I also gave myself some space to think, to reflect, and to ask myself what I actually want from 2026. And there is one thing I'm crystal clear on. This is the year I'm bringing main character energy into my everyday life, and you should too. So that's how we're going to kick off the podcast in 2026, talking about what main character energy really is, what it isn't, and how we can start showing up as the leading role in our own hit series, also known as real life. So get comfy, maybe take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Okay, let's talk about what I actually mean when I say main character energy, especially for nurses. Main character energy is a mindset shift. It's the shift from surviving your life to actually participating in it. It's that moment where you stop feeling like you're just along for the ride in your own career. Because honestly, so many nurses, especially new nurses, feel like they're just background characters. Like you're just reacting to schedules, you're reacting to systems, to policies, to expectations. Like you should just be grateful to be here and keep your head down and do the work. Main character energy is when that starts to change. It's when you stop moving through your days thinking, I'm lucky they hired me, and you start thinking, I chose this and I get to choose how I show up. It's when you start moving like your time matters, like your energy is valuable, like your career is something you actively shape, not something that just happens to you while you're trying to keep up. I always think about The Devil Wears Prada when I talk about this shift. If you haven't seen it in a while Andy is the main character. She's smart, capable, ambitious, but at the beginning of the movie, she's completely out of her element. She's underprepared. She's constantly apologizing. She's scrambling to keep up, and she's telling herself she's just so lucky to be there. She's reacting to everything around her instead of choosing how she wants to show up. And then slowly something changes. She doesn't become mean. She doesn't lose her values. She doesn't suddenly know everything. What she does is become intentional. She prepares the night before. She anticipates instead of panicking. She stops shrinking herself and starts taking her role seriously. She decides, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to show up fully. That shift where she stops reacting and she starts choosing, that's main character energy. That's not ego. It's not perfection. It's just pure ownership. And that's the same shift so many nurses need permission to make. And I want to be really clear about something, especially in nursing. Main character energy is not ego. It's not ignorance. It's not arrogance. It's not thinking you're better than everyone else. For nurses, main character energy is actually about self-respect. It's about intention. It's about ownership. Because nursing as a profession often teaches self-sacrifice before it teaches self-agency. We're taught to put everyone else first, push through, and be grateful, even when something doesn't feel right. However, main character energy says, I can care deeply and still care about myself. I can be a team player and still advocate for my needs. I can be new and still take up space. And when you start embodying the mindset, everything shifts. How you walk into work, how you talk to yourself after a hard shift, how you make career decisions, how you see your future. And that's what main character energy really is. And honestly, that's what we're going to bring to 2026. Now, I want to pause for a second and talk about what main character energy is not. Because if I don't say this part out loud, it can very quickly start to sound gimmicky or like some confidence slogan that you just slap on a mug. Main character energy is not arrogance. It's not entitlement. It's not walking into work acting like the rules don't apply to you. It's also not ignoring teamwork. Nursing is collaborative by nature, and having main character energy doesn't mean you stop being a team player. It means you stop shrinking yourself inside the team. It is not toxic positivity. This is not a just be confident pep talk, okay? It's not pretending that you love every shift or that everything is fine when it's clearly not. And it's definitely not bypassing hard emotions or difficult realities. And you can have main character energy and still have bad days. You can be grounded and still feel overwhelmed, and you can be confident and still be learning. Main character energy isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It's quiet, it's steady, it's self-assured. It's the kind of confidence that shows in how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you make decisions, especially when no one is watching. Okay, so now that we know what main character energy is and what it is not, let's talk about how we can embody it. So, what does main character energy actually look like in a nurse in real life? It looks like preparing for your shift instead of dreading it. Not because every shift is easy, but because you're choosing to show up with intention instead of fear. You're tackling your shift head on. It looks like asking questions without apologizing for existing. Remembering that curiosity is a strength, not a weakness, and that learning out loud is part of becoming a great nurse. It looks like receiving feedback without spiraling, taking what's useful, leaving what's not, and not letting one comment rewrite the entire story that you're telling yourself about your ability and your future and your potential. It looks like leaving work at work more often than not, and not replaying every interaction on your drive home. It looks like giving yourself permission to be human outside of your nursing role. It also looks like making career decisions intentionally instead of emotionally. Okay, pausing before reacting. Just because you have a bad shift doesn't mean it's time to go update your resume and look for other jobs, right? Zooming out and asking yourself, is this aligned with where I'm trying to go, or am I just responding to a hard day? It looks like trusting that you are becoming a great nurse, even on the days that you don't feel like you're one yet. You don't have to wait to feel confident to act with confidence. And growth is happening whether you notice it or not. And really, when you zoom out, all of this comes back to one core shift. And that is main character energy is the shift from asking, what is happening to me, to asking, how am I choosing to show up in this chapter? Because when you start showing up intentionally, everything changes. How you experience your shift changes, how you see yourself changes, and how you build your career. It is definitely a ripple effect. And this is exactly why I'm choosing to bring main character energy into the new year, because 2026 isn't about doing more, okay? It's not about hustling harder or proving anything to anyone. For me, 2026 is about intention, about stepping out of autopilot and into authorship, about deciding how I want to show up in my life before the day decides for me. Main character energy is the filter that I'm going to run through every decision and every day in 2026. So before I say yes, I'm thinking main character energy. Before I say no to something, I'm thinking main character energy. Before I overextend, overthink, or second guess myself. It's the reminder that this is my chapter. I don't need to rush it. I don't need to shrink inside it. And I don't need permission to take it too seriously. So, as we move through 2026 together on this podcast or in our careers and in everyday life, this is the energy that I'm inviting you to step into with me. Not louder, not harder, just more intentional. I like to think of main character energy as showing up as the main character of the movie that you will someday watch. Who knows? Maybe when you get to the gates of heaven, you're forced to rewatch your life, the good chapters and also the bad ones. So let's show up as the main character that you will be rooting for during the replay. Now, maybe you have seasons where you're the underdog or where you're at rock bottom and you don't think you'll ever climb out of that hole. Or maybe you're in a chapter in life where you're on top right now. Whatever chapter or season you're in, show up in a way that you would be proud of and in a way that your favorite character would show up. So, how are we going to embody main character energy this year? Well, to start, this isn't just a mindset shift. It's something that you need to put into practice. The first way is to romanticize the preparation, not the chaos. Main characters don't glamorize burnout, okay? They don't wait until everything is falling apart to show up. They prepare with intention. So for a nurse, that might look like laying out your scrubs the night before, packing your work bag like it actually matters, having a simple pre-shift routine. Maybe you put on music on the drive in to set the scene. You pick a song that's exciting, upbeat, motivational, something that sets the scene for your shift before you even clock in. A quick series of deep breathing exercises or an affirmation or two before you walk into the unit may be something that helps you get into the effective frame of mind needed to tackle a 12-hour shift ahead. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about mental readiness. It's about telling your nervous system, I'm prepared for what's coming. The second way to embody main character energy is to speak to yourself like a mentor, not a critic. And this one is huge. Main character energy changes your internal dialogue because the way you talk to yourself after a hard shift really matters. Instead of immediately jumping to, I'm so bad at this, main characters would say something like, I'm learning. This is helpful feedback and information. This is not a permanent label. Now, especially for new nurses, one tough shift can honestly spiral into questioning every decision you've ever made, especially professionally. Main character energy says instead that I can reflect without tearing myself apart. And I know that is easier said than done sometimes. Now, a third way that we can walk into 2026 as a main character is to stop waiting for confidence and instead borrow it. Here's the truth. Main characters don't feel ready all the time. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after action. So in 2026, show up as if the capable version of you already exists and let the experience side of things catch up. You don't need to feel like a competent nurse to act like one. You become her by simply doing. When I think about borrowed confidence, I always think about Legally Blonde. Elle Woods walks into law school completely underestimated. Everyone around her assumes she's not serious, not capable, not smart enough to even be there. And the important thing to remember here is she doesn't walk in feeling fully confident. She doesn't know everything. She makes mistakes and she has many moments of doubt. But what Elle does have is an unshakable belief that she does belong in the room and she has potential. She raises her hand anyways. She shows up prepared anyways. She keeps going even when people don't take her seriously. She doesn't wait to feel confident to act confidently. She borrows confidence first and lets the competence side of things catch up. And that is main character energy. And for new nurses, that lesson is everything. You don't need to feel like the confident nurse yet to show up like one. You become her or him by doing, by asking questions, by staying in the room long enough for the growth to happen. The fourth way to embody this energy is to protect your energy like it's part of your job. Because honestly, it is. Main character energy looks like saying no without over explaining, leaving work on time when you can, creating rituals that help you transition out of work mode instead of carrying everything home with you. Your energy is not infinite, and it is not a moral failing for protecting it. The fifth way, which is one of my favorites, is to dress, move, and carry yourself with intention like a main character. This is where that look good, feel good idea really matters. This isn't about vanity. This isn't about embodiment, right? So choose scrubs that fit and feel good. Take an extra half an hour before your shift to do something to your hair or put on some makeup or whatever it is that makes yourself feel good. I swear taking time to look good will give you an extra 10% or more of confidence throughout the day. I honestly started doing this even on days where I had no plans to leave the house, because then I can show up on social media on the spot or go pick up my youngest daughter from drop off looking a bit more put together. I swear it absolutely affects the way that you carry yourself. So treat yourself to the expensive scrub set or incorporate a hair mask weekly or whatever it is that will make you feel more confident and gives you main character energy in your daily life. This will help you walk into rooms like you belong there, because honestly, you do. Your nervous system responds to how you carry yourself long before your mind catches up. The sixth way to embody main character energy is to take ownership of your career narrative. Another one of my favorites. Main characters don't let other people write their story for them. Another really powerful real life example of main character energy in this case is Taylor Swift. Regardless of how you feel about her music, her career is such a clear lesson in authorship. Over and over again, she's been misunderstood, underestimated, and publicly criticized. And instead of letting other people define her story, she took it back. She rewrote her narrative literally. She reclaimed her work. She re-recorded all of her music. She decided how her story would be told. And that is main character energy in real life. It's not being loud. It's not proving yourself to everyone else. But honestly, it's just choosing ownership over autopilot, sitting in the driver's seat rather than the passenger seat. And that's exactly what I want for nurses. Whether you're a new nurse or not, you don't have to let one unit, one manager, one hard season, or one bad experience define your entire career. You get to choose what this chapter means and what comes next. In 2026, that might look like tracking your wins, even the small ones, reflecting on what went right instead of ruminating on what went wrong. And of course, taking control of your career narrative looks like deciding intentionally what you want your next chapter to look like, as well as asking yourself hard questions like, is this role helping me become who I want to be? Last November, I attended an event put on by Indeed, and an Indeed career person explained that there are actually 4 different types of jobs that we experience throughout our career, no matter what industry or specialty you're in. The first type of job is your dream job, right? Which is the job that we all aspire to be in one day. And this likely isn't the job that you start out with, but one that you actually work towards. Another type of job is the one that you have just to keep the electricity going and the lights on. This job isn't one that you particularly like or that you want to stay in long term, but one that you need to provide basic necessities. The third type of job is known as a bridge job. This is where you are knowingly in a role that is helping you gain experience and skills necessary to progress towards your dream job. You may be here for a year or two, or honestly, until you land that dream job. It is not necessarily your final destination. The last type of job that he mentions at this Indeed event is a benefits-focused job. This is a good job, but don't confuse it with your dream job. This benefits job is one that you have because it's exactly what it's called for. It provides good benefits. Maybe the pay is good, or the health insurance is great, or the company matches your 401k at an unbeatable rate. Whatever the perks are, it's a job worth having because the benefits help provide you with the life that you want outside of your job. If it pays well, maybe it's funding a passion project or an expensive hobby. If the health insurance is great, maybe that's important because your family's health disparities. It's a job that you work because of the perks. So, whatever job type that you are in, remember you're the main character and you are here with the intention of making the most of it and ensuring that it is serving a purpose in the season of life that you are in. Now, pivoting to the 7th way to embody main character energy is to zoom out, because this is just a chapter in your story, not the entire book. A bad day does not mean you have a bad career. A hard season doesn't mean that you chose the wrong path. And finally, I always think about Rocky when I talk about hard seasons. Most people remember Rocky for the big fight at the end, but most of the movie isn't about winning. It's about showing up when it's uncomfortable, training when no one's watching, and getting knocked down, but yet choosing to get back up. Rocky doesn't start out as the best. He's not polished. He's not the favorite, but he stays in the fight. And that's what early nursing can honestly feel like. I know it sounds dramatic, but long shifts, steep learning curves, feeling invisible, wondering if you're even cut out for the profession. That's what nursing looks like. Main character energy doesn't mean every chapter is glamorous. It means you don't quit in the middle of the story. Main character energy allows you to say, this is a tough chapter, but it's not the end of the book. And when you start seeing your life and career that way, everything feels lighter, clearer, and more intentional, and also more exciting. As we close out this episode, I want you to remember this. Main character energy isn't about being perfect, loud, or fearless. It's about intention. It's about choosing how you show up. It's about preparation over panic, ownership over autopilot, and staying in the story even when the chapter feels really hard. We saw it with Andy in The Devil Wears Prada, when she stopped reacting and started choosing. We saw it with Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, who borrowed confidence before she felt ready. We saw it with Taylor Swift, who reclaimed her narrative instead of letting others define it. And we saw it with Rocky, who reminded us that staying in the fight matters more than winning every round. So as you step into 2026, I hope you choose to show up like the version of you that you're rooting for, intentional, grounded, and still becoming. And if this episode resonated with you, it would mean so much if you share it with a friend, if you follow the show, or if you took a quick second to rate and review the podcast. It truly helps more nurses and future nurses find their way here. Thank you for being part of this community, and I'll see you in the next episode. As always, I have one hand for me and the other for you. Signing off. Well, that's it for today's episode of Life After Nursing School. I hope you feel more confident and ready to tackle the challenges that come with starting your nursing career. Remember, the first year or two might not be easy, but with the right mindset, you can overcome anything. If you found value in today's episode, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a future episode. Also, please consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform. It helps so much in reaching other new nurses like you. Thanks for listening, and remember, you've got this. Take care and see you next time.